The San Diego County Board of Education is pushing for schools to have the personnel and funding necessary to better assist students struggling with mental illness to help in preventing youth homelessness.
Yeah, joining us here to discuss what actions are needed is a member of the San Diego County Board of Education, Mark Powell, joining us here on a Saturday morning. Good morning, Mark. Nice
Good morning.
Here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
This is a hard topic to discuss, especially, and it's very eye-opening, I think, for a lot of families throughout San Diego County about what is happening in our schools as it relates to our students who are dealing with mental health issues and the tie-in with homelessness.
Well, if you look at what the city's doing with homelessness, they're trying to address it through housing and other areas, but they're also addressing mental health issues. Mental health issues don't just start when you're 30. Oftentimes they start when you're in 6th grade, 7th, 8th grade, and if left untreated, these mental health issues, students oftentimes turn to self-medication with street drugs, and you know, we've heard about that through all of the vaping that's going on.
What percentage of students in the schools have mental illness issues, and how do you diagnose that?
Okay, that's a really good question, and it's the amount is staggering. San Diego County has 500,000 students, 500,000. A recent study said 20% of students are diagnosed with some type of emotional, mental, or other type of behavioral problem. So if you just do the math, that's 100,000 students in our county. But the ratio of counselors and psychologists to students is not enough. That's why I'm lobbying the governor to give us some of the homeless money to help address mental health issues in school.
Okay, so let's say, hypothetically speaking, the governor does allocate some funds to come your way. How do you use that money? How do you implement help to our students?
The numbers are staggering. Listen to this. You're in a school. The ratio of counselors to teachers to students in San Diego County is 680 to 1. Nurses, about 700 to 1. And social workers, 7,000 to 1. So we need to hire more counselors. We need to hire more school psychologists. We need more school nurses just to help deal with these issues that kids have every day. Look, they suffer from panic disorder, anxiety, some stress, depression. So a kid left with depression that's untreated can actually self-medicate, like we talked earlier.
You know, mental illness, mental health illness I've always heard that it doesn't discriminate, but do you find that there's a certain population of students who might be more prone to deal with these type of issues?
Well, if you're a student, well, mental health issue affects everybody. So it's not by your race, your religion, where you live. It affects everybody. So in order to address mental health issues, you need proper treatment. You need to see a professional. But sometimes that just doesn't happen. And parents ultimately are responsible. However, to deal with homelessness, you have to look at it as a core function of local government. And schools, we have elected officials on school boards. They're part of local government. So schools need to do their part. And if you address mental illness early enough and diagnose it, that could be one of the approaches to help manage our homeless crisis, because 43% of homeless people have some form of mental health or substance abuse problem.
Whenever we talk about schools, one thing that really comes to mind are budget cuts.
Yes.
I mean, it happened and I agree with you, the numbers are staggering. 680 per every one student?
Yes.
Where does the money come from? How is this going to be paid for?
Governor Newsom is allocating $1.4 billion to go to homeless services. Now look, we know we can't build 10,000 homes overnight to help our homes. It's just not going to happen. And we've looked at a lot of other approaches. However, dealing with the issue and being proactive and addressing mental health early on is one way that we can help prevent homelessness in the future. There's 1,100 kids right now that are homeless in San Diego, homeless students. They're either living on the street, in a car, they call it couch surfing. They go from house to house to house. It's sad that these kids have to suffer like this. Left untreated, they suffer. So we need the money for the resources to provide counselors, psychologists, nurses, and to help out these kids.
So what's the process look like when you're requesting Governor Gavin Newsom to allocate some of that $1.5 or $1.4 billion?
Well, I'm not asking for $1.4 billion. Just
a portion
of it.
Yeah.
I've met personally with Tony Thurman, and I've discussed this with him, and I've sent email contacts. So I'm hopeful that somehow I show up on the radar screen and that dialogue starts, so I can put our county school board and our county school superintendent in contact with these various people so we can get that proper funding.
Okay. Mark Powell, that's good. Glad you brought this to our attention.
Yeah,
already.
absolutely.
Definitely.
It's a big
We'll follow
deal.
up with
Yeah, we
you,
appreciate it.
because I know that the County Board of Education, you guys are doing a number of new things right now in the
We're
schools,
involved
yeah.
in an anti-drug campaign, our anti-vaping campaign, and look, and we are doing things. We're going to see some good progress moving forward. Very fortunate to have a great superintendent and a great board.
Okay,
All right.
very good.
We'll
Thank
see you
you,
again
Mark.
soon, I'm sure.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.